The afternoon sun was just beginning to soften when I arrived at Jumeirah. The light over Dubai was golden, the kind of gold that feels alive, dancing on the walls, melting into everything it touches. Ahead of me rose one of the city's most graceful landmarks, Jumeirah Mosque. At first glance, it looked like something out of a dream. Two elegant minarets reaching toward the sky, framing a wide central dome that gleamed under the light. The walls, made of cream-colored stone, reflected the sun in a way that made the whole structure look as if it were glowing from within. But what struck me most wasn't just its beauty. It was the feeling that this place was inviting. In a city famous for its skyscrapers, luxury cars, and futuristic marvels, Jumeirah Mosque stands. Quietly, timeless, human, and profoundly peaceful. It's one of the few mosques in the UAE open to visitors of all faiths. Anyone can come here. You don't have to be Muslim to enter, only respectful. That small difference changes everything. As I walked through the gate, I felt the sound of the city fade behind me. The street noise, the hum of engines, the rhythm of daily life, all slowly disappeared. What replaced it was silence, but not the kind that feels empty. It was a warm, breathing silence, as if the air itself was welcoming me. A guide in a pristine white kandura greeted me. At the entrance, his smile was calm and genuine. He offered me a scarf to cover my head and shoulders. A simple gesture of respect that, somehow, made me feel part of something larger. Here, he said gently, everyone is welcome, as long as they come with an open heart. That sentence stayed with me. I stepped into the courtyard, and it was like walking into a poem made of light and geometry. Every line, every curve, every pattern was balanced. The marble beneath my feet was cool and smooth. The walls were covered with delicate carvings, interlocking patterns that seemed infinite, symbolizing the eternal nature of God. Sunlight filtered through the arches, casting shifting patterns of gold and shadow. Inside the main prayer hall, the world seemed to slow down. The space was open yet intimate. The ceiling soared high, painted with soft blue and gold motifs, echoing the color of the desert sky. The light came in from small windows placed high above, so it didn't blind, it caressed. It was a light designed not to dazzle, but to remind. I sat quietly near the back, taking it all in. The air smelled faintly of incense and old stone. There were no statues, no portraits. Only space, symmetry, and peace. The simplicity made everything feel pure. Soon, the Open Doors, Open Mind session began. As part of a cultural program by the Sheikh Mohammed Center for Cultural Understanding, a place where questions are welcome and curiosity is celebrated. The guide, a calm man with kind eyes, invited us to sit in a circle on the carpet. He started by explaining the 5 pillars of Islam, not as a lecture, but as a story, a rhythm of daily life that connects millions of hearts around the world. When he spoke about Adhan, the call to prayer, I could feel everyone in the room lean forward. He explained how, 5 times a day, this sound reminds Muslims to pause, reflect, and reconnect with their Creator. Then he played a recording. The first Allahu Akbar filled the mosque like sunlight flooding a dark room. The sound rose, pure and resonant, echoing from wall to wall. I closed my eyes. For a moment, I forgot where I was. The sound didn't feel foreign or distant. It felt human. It was the sound of faith, of stillness, of millions turning toward the same direction with the same purpose. I've heard many kinds of music in my life, but this was different. The adhan wasn't performed for beauty, and yet it was beautiful. It was simple, yet it carried the weight of centuries. When the guide spoke again, his voice was soft. Islam, he said, is about peace. The word itself comes from salam, peace. When we pray, we remind ourselves that the world is bigger than our worries. I looked around. There were people from every corner of the world sitting there. Travelers, students, photographers, families. Different faces, different languages, all sitting on the same carpet under the same dome. No one looked out of place. No one looked uncomfortable. It felt like a small version of what the world could be, if we all just listened more. Someone asked about why women wear the hijab. The guide smiled again, that same calm smile. Because modesty, he said, is not about restriction. It's about dignity. It's a choice of respect for oneself and for others. He didn't preach. He didn't argue. He simply explained. And that simplicity made it powerful. He invited a woman from the staff to show us how the wudu, the ritual washing before prayer, is done. The sound of water echoed softly through the hall. Every motion was deliberate and calm, washing away not just dust, but distraction. It's not about being physically clean, she said, but spiritually ready. Outside, the light was beginning to change. The sun dipped lower, turning the sky a deep amber. Shadows stretched long across the courtyard. I wandered out again, shoes in hand, feeling the cool marble under my feet. And then, almost on cue, the real adhan began. The muezzin's voice rose from the minaret, carrying across the city. The sound merged with the golden air, timeless, ancient, pure. A few men entered quietly for the Maghrib prayer. I stayed back, near the doorway, watching. They stood in a line, shoulder to shoulder, all differences erased, in a single motion of faith. When they bowed, the rhythm of their movement matched the rhythm of the muezzin's voice. It was grace in motion. I didn't film that part. Some moments feel too sacred to capture, they're meant to be lived. After prayer, one of the staff members offered me a cup of Arabic tea and a few dates. The tea was fragrant, strong but sweet, with a hint of cardamom. I sat on a low bench near the entrance, sipping slowly, watching the mosque turn from gold to blue as the evening deepened. The stone, once glowing, now shimmered softly under the light of the lanterns. It was then I realized something. This wasn't just a building. It was a bridge between faiths, between strangers, between the seen and the unseen. Dubai is known for its record-breaking towers and luxurious lifestyles, but places like Jumeirah Mosque show the city's heart, its quiet side, the side that listens, not just speaks. Later, as the group dispersed, the guide approached me again. "What did you think?" he asked. I thought for a moment. "Peaceful," I said, "but not the empty kind. The kind that makes you think." He smiled knowingly. "That's what faith should feel like." We walked together toward the exit. The courtyard was almost empty now. The marble reflected the soft light of the lamps. The crescent moon had risen above the minaret, glowing faintly against the deep indigo sky. I stopped to take one last look. From here, the symmetry of the mosque was perfect, like a geometry lesson written by the hands of heaven. Every curve, every line, every shadow seemed to align. I took a breath and whispered to myself, "This isn't just a mosque, it's the soul of hospitality." Even as I stepped back into the noise of the city, the calm stayed with me, like a quiet echo that refuses to fade. It's easy to forget, in our fast lives, that spirituality doesn't belong to one religion. It belongs to moments like this, moments when we slow down enough to listen. The Jumeirah Mosque taught me that understanding begins not with agreement, but with curiosity. And maybe that's all the world needs a little more of. Because here, in this small space of stone and light, a stranger like me was welcomed. Not as a guest, but as a friend. And that's something I'll never forget.